You ready to do this, Matt?
Ready I am. Punch it, Chewie.
Welcome, super friends, to the Fortress of Nerditude podcast, a safe place to talk about all things in nerd and pop culture. I'm Spencer Stapleton, and my co-pilot is Matt Shaw. We're two nerds that just refuse to grow up. Thank you for joining us. This is episode 159. We release every Thursday morning. You can find us on the website, fortofnerd.com. We have links to iTunes, Google Music, Spotify, YouTube, Stitcher, and everywhere podcasts are available. Stop by and relax a while. If you like what you're hearing, you hit that subscribe button, and guess what? You get us automatically each and every week in your ear holes. Matt, it's been another week. How are you? Welcome back into the Fortress.
Yes, it has been another week. I feel welcomed back, and it was a good, regular week. It was non-eventful, which is good. Because it's going to be crazy this coming week. Lots of family coming into town. Sister from England. My little sister is staying with us because there's not going to be enough room at my parents' house. So there's a whole bunch of stuff coming on this coming week. But this last week was pretty chill.
So the calm before the storm?
Yeah, I mean, we watched our Disney Plus shows.
Yep.
I went through The Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, and I'm about an hour and 40 minutes into Revenge of the Sith. So I'm going chronological through to Rise of Skywalker.
How has the prequel trilogy been to this go through?
Man, it's not, in my opinion, it's just not that great. I remember The Phantom Menace being better than it was after I watched it like 2 days ago. I remember it being better. It wasn't as good as I remembered. Last time. I don't know.
Is it just because the lightsaber fight in that movie is probably like one of the better ones and it had some cool music around that, and then the rest you just kind of forget about?
Yeah, and I think because I was like 11 or 12 playing like the Phantom Menace game on PC, and like there's good memories associated with that. But even as I've gotten older, it's not like I've stopped watching it. I just remember it being better when I was 28, and now couple of years later because I don't watch them that often because they're not that great. It wasn't great. Attack of the Clones is as bad as I remember.
Yep.
And Revenge of the Sith is as decent as I remember.
Isn't that the truth? It was like Attack of the Clones was horrible.
So bad.
Phantom Menace was pretty bad.
Right.
And then Revenge of the Sith was just kind of like, it's okay. But in comparison to the other two, you're like, hey, this one's pretty good.
Oh yeah. Like this is A+.
Right.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait. But so there's that, and there's lots of good things about the prequels that I enjoy. I do. The best part for me is going through and watching Palpatine and him pulling all of these strings and his plan coming together exactly as he wanted it.
Yep.
It's pretty cool. And then I'm excited to go through the rest of them. And then it'll be interesting when Rise of Skywalker comes out, how that all plays in, right? What his master plan is.
Are you going to go to Solo, then Rogue One? Okay, so you're doing it all, yeah.
I'm doing them all straight up chronological this time. I'm excited.
Let me ask you a question. We've seen in the trailers, and I know there's a new trailer or some added footage. I have not watched it yet.
Every day they're putting more stuff out.
I'm in now media blackout. I'm really avoiding it. And we've heard Palpatine's cackle in one of the first few. Mm-hmm. Do you think he has a major role in this film?
Yeah.
How?
To me, he has to.
Has to?
I do. I feel like in order for this to feel... Here's the deal. I've been thinking about the sequels recently. And to me, they really feel separate. Like separate from the Skywalker saga. And they're really trying to advertise this thing as part of the Skywalker saga. Like, this is the end. And we know Luke is in it. We know Leia is in it. We know Lando is in it. We know now that the Emperor is in it, or at least does voiceover.
Right.
And they're making you think that he is. And if he wasn't, boy, that would be a
huge red herring.
Yeah, which I think would piss a lot of people off, including myself. I expect him to be in it. I feel like he needs to be in it for this to really tie up the saga with a nice
sequel
bow.
trilogy. Yeah,
that's my impression. He needs to be in it. He needs to play a decent role in it, and I just think I think he will.
I'm really on the fence. While the Star Wars fanboy in me wants to see more Emperor, I kind of like that he died at the end of Return of the Jedi. And that was his end. And it's kind of like what we talked about on the Mandalorian Sidekick podcast. Is that like, if you introduce a villain really, really late, you don't have time to build that emotional connection, that desire to see the villain overthrown, and like try to toss him in now after we had 2 movies without him. There's just part of me that thinks like, this just seems like hey, let's just go back to the well one more time. We'll bring back out a character that we know people wanted to see overthrown from the previous movies. I mean, he was the, the Emperor, right, in the original trilogy. Then in the prequel trilogy, he basically is kind of like the Adolf Hitler. Like, you see his rise to power and how he seizes power, and how he basically forms the Galactic Empire and starts it all and, takes over. And like, that story actually was fairly interesting, albeit
it's the best storyline.
Yeah, muddied with some other stuff in there. But now it's like, I'm on the fence. Part of me is like, if they do something right, if it fits and it feels good, then maybe it's not going to be a bad thing. But if it feels like it's jammed in there on this, it is just it's going to make it really sour for me. It really will.
Yeah, they kind of painted themselves in a corner, though, in my opinion. I think JJ painted themselves in a really, really small box, and then Ryan opened the box, and now they don't know what to do. It'll be interesting to see if they can tie it all together and make it make sense. I
think actually Ryan made the box smaller.
I can see that too.
By killing Snoke, because you get the impression in Force Awakens, like, Snoke is like pulling the strings kind of behind the Kylo Ren. And then they kill him in Rian Johnson's The Last Jedi. And it's like, whoa, okay, but like, if we're trying to build towards, I don't know.
It's a whole thing. We'll see.
It's a thing. I don't know.
This episode is not about Star Wars.
No, but I'm just apprehensive about it.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, we'll see. I don't know. I'm excited, optimistic. I'm going through all the movies. That's the story of all of this. And nothing really happened. It was a pretty chill week.
Nice.
Not bad. Yep.
Nice. I actually had another pretty kind of good week. A lot of good stuff going on. Nice. So first and foremost, on, this Saturday night, I went over to Stu's house because Stu and his wife Katina were holding a Friendsgiving.
Nice.
And so I went over there, and it was funny because I messaged him earlier in the day and said, hey, Britta's sick, and she's horribly congested, not feeling well. So she wanted to kind of stay home, and the kids didn't really want to go anywhere. They wanted to play on their iPads, and I was like, fine. I didn't want to fight it. So I just messaged Stu, was like, hey, what can I do? What can I bring? He was like, man, maybe some yams. I'm like, sweet. And then like 10 minutes later, maybe, he calls me and says, actually, we can't fit the ham in our oven. Can you come pick the ham up, and can we put it in your oven and warm it up? I was like, absolutely. Let me get back from the store. I'll come over and get it. So I got to heat up the ham for him and go over, and I went to the Friendsgiving, and it was just a lot of fun seeing Stu and seeing Katina. But I realized that this Friendsgiving, it's kind of like their way of trying to start marrying together like their friends, because they're in a new marriage, and so they're trying to bring friends together. And most of the people, I'd say, that were packed into this house, and I say packed because there was a lot of people in not a lot of space. I think we're Katina's friends. I think there was 2. There was me and a fellow named Brady, who was Stu's best man at his wedding, a buddy of Stu's that he's known for a while. And I've been around Brady a little bit, and so I know him just a little bit. And so I was like, hey, I recognize Brady. And so it was me and Brady, and we kind of hung out and talked some. And then we, hung out and talked some with Stu, but Stu had other people he was,
sure,
trying to talk to and whatnot. But it was one of those things where I'm like, yep, we're the two guys that Stu knows. The other 37 people in this house are all Katina's friends.
Oh, that's funny.
But it was so good just to go over and just kind of hang out and see Stu and Katina. So I did that. And then like later that night, Brita was in bed. She was tired and she'd taken some NyQuil and she was out. The kids were out. So I went down to the movie theater and saw Ford versus Ferrari on my AMC Movie Pass. That was a good movie. I didn't know anything about the movie going in, and I went and watched it. It was entertaining. It had me sitting on the edge of my seat at times. It had me laughing. It's got a little bit of everything. So, like, if you're into cars and you're into racing, I think you're going to like it. Even if you're not and you're just into, like, a good biopic story, it's got that going for it. And I think anyone would love it.
Nice.
So,
nice.
Yeah, definitely worth doing. There's this little Netflix series called The Toys That Made Us, and there's a new series out. There's 4 new little episodes, and Breed and I were thinking about watching a little bit of that. Then we saw that there's a series called The Movies That Made Us.
Yeah, I saw that too.
We watched all 4 of those in one night.
Wasn't Home Alone one of them?
It was Home Alone, it was Dirty Dancing, it was Ghostbusters, and it was Die Hard.
Oh man, there's some good ones.
It was cool. My only criticism was the voiceover was a little cheesy, and at times the voiceover was like, just, it felt like they were talking way too much.
Yeah. And
less of the interviews, and it almost had a feeling of like, kind of like the honest trailers that you can watch on YouTube.
Yep.
Had a little bit of that feel to it.
Okay.
Just a little bit. Still was fun. It was good. It was interesting to see how some of the movies came about and whatnot. Did that. And this week I also streamed Jedi Fallen Order on Twitch.
Finally.
Yes, I am now playing Jedi Fallen Order. I'm looking forward to getting back into it more this week. I went, let's see, the starting planet of Bogano. I did there. Then I went over to Dathomir, which is the home planet of Darth Maul.
So scary. Dude.
And I got a double lightsaber.
So sick.
And then I went from there over to Zepho. And so I'm on Zepho currently. And I've been playing it on the Jedi Knight level.
Yep.
And I think I've only died maybe twice, like when fighting, 2 or 3 times maybe while fighting someone. There's definitely a couple times where I just ran, like I just booked it.
Yeah.
But then I've died a few times, like jumping off stuff or whatever, or kind of not seen. But I've heard the criticism that a lot of people say it's really kind of hard to figure it out and to fight. And I just kind of, find that if you pace yourself a little bit on some of the blocking mechanisms so you don't wear down your stamina, it's not too bad. Plus, having a double lightsaber this early really does help because I'm getting in a lot more strikes.
Right.
The blocking mechanism, I don't seem to be, struggling with it too much. So I'm liking it.
Just wait.
I'm
just kidding. No, it's not. I died at the beginning a lot, but I'm also kind of a novice gamer, but I figured it out and then I pretty much never died.
Yeah.
After there's a couple of boss fights where, it was tough.
Yeah.
It was tough.
Yeah. I did have some fights on Dathomir where I was fighting the
Darth Maul lookalikes.
Right, yeah, but they're like these ghost brothers or whatever.
Yeah, dude, they're those. I was so scared. I hate Dathomir, man. I did everything I could to run through that place as fast as I possibly could. It scared me to death.
I liked it. I get frightened though when like the big monsters come because I was like, those things like they got a lot of HP and they do a lot of damage.
Yeah, they do.
So I was like, okay, run.
Yep.
Just run.
Yep. Find
higher ground where they can't get me.
Yep.
Kind of like the frogs on Bogano, those big, huge like frog things. I was like, dude, get away, get away.
Yep. So fun.
Yeah.
Cool. Well,
so yeah, I'm loving it.
Good.
I am absolutely loving it. But that's been my week. A few other stuff going on upcoming this week. We've got Charlie's birthday party. We're throwing a friend's birthday party.
Nice.
And so today we went over to deliver a birthday invitation over to the old daycare to give to the daughters of the daycare lady. And when they knocked on the door and she saw the boys, she was just super excited, just, grabbed them both and gave them a huge hug, just held on to them and was just so excited to see them. Because realistically, it's only been since maybe about middle of August since we stopped going there. But she just, she'd watched our kids for years.
Yeah.
Years. She'd helped raise our kids.
Right.
And so, we love her. She loves us. And so it's good to see them and get to see their little girls and give the invitation. And they're super excited. And then one of the other, the boys' little friend, Beckett, was there. And Beckett probably came over and gave Charlie and Jackson each 5 hugs. I was just super excited to see them.
Cute.
And it was meant to be a quick, little 5-minute, hey, how's it going? Here's the thing. And we ended up hanging out for 20, 25 minutes.
Right.
So anyway, his party's coming up. It's the big first friends party. It should be a good thing, but, a little stressful. Got to get it all ready, but we're excited.
Awesome.
It should be fun.
Cool.
But other than that, man, it's time we got to do the thing.
We got to do the thing we got to do.
We got to kill some Bothans, Matt.
Let's do it.
So let me ask you a question, though. We went heavy a little while ago. Then we went light. Is there a way that you'd like to murder the Bothans this week?
Just like a little bit, injection.
So you want to poison them?
Yeah, but in a nice way, like an injection that just kills them quick and painlessly.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
I always have to let you know, many Bothans died to bring us this information.
Rest in peace, you Bothans.
All right, Matt, we're into Rebel Intelligence. You have injected them with a flesh-eating bacteria, and their bodies have rotted like corpses from the inside.
This is not what I wanted.
And we have their information.
Oh, gosh.
What do you have for me this week?
Let's stick with Star Wars.
Okay.
And let's talk Disney Plus shows. And we know we've got The Mandalorian going, obviously. Shout out to the Sidekick podcast, Yo. Comes out on Mondays. We also know that we're getting the Rogue One prequel with Diego Luna, and then we've got Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan series. And Jon Favreau was quoted as saying, quote, "There's definitely the opportunity to explore these characters beyond what we've presented on the show. There's a very fluid line between what's in the movie theaters and what's on the screen at home. It's very exciting for me because I get to tell stories over the course of several hours and not just within the footprint of one theater-going experience. I think it's only a matter of time before we cross paths the other way." So, similar to what Kevin Feige is talking about with his Disney Plus series, Jon Favreau, who seems to kind of be becoming the Disney Star Wars guy recently.
Yeah.
He's talking a lot about things, not just Mandalorian, it would appear. Anyway, to me, it's inevitable as well. I'm kind of on the same train as him. Disney Plus Star Wars is going to overlap with what we're getting in the theaters eventually.
Yeah. There's got to be crossover.
So I don't know how much. I don't know if it'll be as crazy as it's going to be with Marvel, or at least how I think it's going to be with Marvel, how I envision it. However, I thought that was cool, and I'm all for it.
Who from The Mandalorian would you like to see crossover into the movies?
The Mandalorian. Or a Baby Yoda.
Yeah, I'm down with Baby Yoda. Let's get Baby Yoda in the movies. I also think that, maybe Cara Dune?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just one of those things Baby Yoda and The Mandalorian seem like the obvious picks. But what if it was less than obvious and it's Cara Dune and they bring her in somehow or stuff like that? Sometimes a side character or a smaller minor character can end up becoming a really good spinoff. And I'll give you an example. Cheers was a massive, massive hit. Huge television show. Then they decided to spin off a TV show off of a minor character on Cheers, Dr. Frasier Crane, the neurotic therapist that was at the bar with his wife Lilith at the time. And we get the TV show Frasier, which became one of the largest comedies at the time to hit the airwaves. So sometimes minor characters. So maybe Cara Dune. That'd be my dark horse pick.
I like it. So anyway, I think there's probably inevitably going to be some crossover as it pertains to the shows and the movies. And I mean, they've kind of mentioned the future of Star Wars is on Disney Plus, and I think they're going to double down on that. With the success of The Mandalorian, I think that they were expecting it to be successful. I don't know that anyone was expecting it to be this successful and permeate pop culture like it has. I mean, it's everywhere, all the time. The weekly episodes is just brilliant. I mean, I get Netflix reinvented it, but there's no substituting the excitement I get every single Thursday night when I realize tomorrow is Star Wars Day. Every week. So awesome.
So it's funny because I look forward to Fridays because it's like, ooh, we're going to get The Mandalorian. Sometimes, though, I don't get to watch it till like Saturday just because of the way it is. But I can't wait until after I finish it because then I immediately text you and say, when can we record?
Yeah.
Because I can't wait to talk. And so it's like, yes, I want to talk. I want to record. Let's get after this thing because I just want to talk about it. And it's so good.
Right.
Yeah. It's, I'm liking the weekly release thing, but I am telling people right now that say like, I haven't seen it. Is it good? I say, yes. They say, should I go get it? And I say, well, here's the thing. If you're going to pay for a month, go get it now because you can watch all the back episodes and finish it out before it's done being shown live. But if you're only going to do like a free week trial at Disney Plus, you want to make sure it's all out before you do that.
Right.
If that's all you're going to do. But yeah. All right. Well, I got something here for you. It has nothing to do with Star Wars, pretty much. You remember a little while ago, in days of yore, there used to be a toy store that had a giant giraffe as its mascot. His name was Jeffrey. We all grew up wanting to be a Toys R Us kid. Well, we know that Toys R Us closed a couple years ago. I think it was 2018 is when they closed like whole, like they closed like something like 800 some stores. I don't remember what it was. Maybe like late 2017, early 2018, summer of 2018, somewhere right around there. Well, they closed it down. They said they were making like no money on the thing. They're losing money. Basically, it had been kind of a victim of, I don't even know what like the term is for it, but basically like a whole bunch of investors kept buying Toys R Us, buying some other stuff, and then like loading all the debt onto Toys R Us so much that they basically just saddled it with way too much, and then it just became non-profitable. They closed all of it. Like they were locking doors. People were showing up to find doors locked, and people were out of employment. So all this happens. The workers had to file a lawsuit to try to get severance. I mean, it's kind of crazy. Well, a Toys R Us has actually opened back up in, in New Jersey. And one is opening up, actually just opened up like 2 days ago in Houston, Texas. And then they're going to get a flagship store in New York. And according to this article, they're supposed to have like 10 by the end of 2020.
Oh.
However, it's not really Toys R Us in a way. So what's interesting is it looks like a Toys R Us. You walk in and they've got Jeffrey there and they've got, things, but they're much, much smaller stores. There's a lot less merchandise on the shelves. And so when you go there, you can shop. And if they're out of the thing you want, you can basically I can't remember what they said, but you can do something where you can order one online. So there's going to be a lot of go to the store. They don't have it. You can order it online. Except when you order online, it redirects you to Target.
Oh, interesting.
So you're actually going to be buying stuff from Target. So they're not really selling toys per se. maybe just a little bit, but it seems more like, hey, we're doing this to Target.
Yeah.
On top of that, the other weird thing is that there's cameras in the store now that are tracking, basically, that they're listening and they're tracking like all of the traffic, the foot traffic, like what's because they have like these like little play centers where kids can go and play, and they're tracking how these kids are going through kind of their cadence, their traffic patterns, to see like what toys kids are gravitating more towards, so they can start pushing more of just those toys. And I know that's it. To me, it seems a little creepy because I get trying to monitor and get an idea of like what's selling, but since they're not selling a lot of actual toys in store, they're trying to see like what kids are gravitating towards, so they can try to like, I don't know, like target the ads maybe to those things or whatever. So it's a Toys R Us, but it's kind of not at the same time. It's really kind of a weird thing. I mean, monitoring of children, running around, trying to figure out what's going on, limited stock, everything's being redirected online sales to Target.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I loved Toys R Us as a kid.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like the toy store to go to. Now it just seems like this is just a kind of gussied up Target.
Yeah, interesting. Very interesting. Odd.
So if you live in the Paramus, New Jersey area, New York, Houston, or where one of these new Toys R Us are going to go, and you listen to the podcast, Super Friends, let us know. I want to hear what it's like because I'm curious.
Yeah.
Really curious.
Interesting. Okay. Well, let's stay on the toy front.
Ooh.
I got to brace yourselves. Brace yourselves.
Racing.
From the low cost Toys R Us, we have a new competitor, new entrant into the toy front, and it's Saks Fifth Avenue.
What?
Saks Fifth Avenue is selling a $30,000 Frozen 2 doll set plus Olaf. You get Elsa, Anna, and Olaf for $30,000. Just a cool $30K.
Yeah, because I've got that lying around.
No big deal. $30,000. So they're like hand painted and handcrafted in every way, and their clothes are like elegant and beautiful and whatnot. But this is so silly. On these dolls, these are like Barbies, okay? Like, let's get real.
Yeah,
on these
it's a Barbie.
Barbies, you've got like jewels, gold, like real, and diamonds, like real diamonds on these children's toys.
Why?
I don't know.
How many are they making?
I don't know. I have no idea. It doesn't say how many they're making.
Because I read through an article about this too, because you were kind of mentioning this, or you posted it or something, and I peeked. I thought that I saw somewhere that they're only making 2 sets. So that they're going to...
There it is at the end of the article. Each
is that
one
right?
also comes numbered, so they're numbering them, yeah. Although imagine the shame of being the collector stuck with number 2. Okay, so it would appear that, yeah, they're only making 2, but that's just kind of what I'm guessing based on this.
So this isn't like going to be like a mass-produced thing.
Of course not. That would be ridiculous.
I guarantee that both of those are going to sell.
Of course they are. Have you seen the stuff at Saks Fifth Avenue?
I mean, not personally, no.
Oh my gosh. So our mall, we park by Saks Fifth Avenue. It's just a convenient place for us to park. We always park there. We walk through Saks Fifth. And every time we go in, we're like, oh, we don't belong here. We don't belong here. You look at the price tag of a dress, like a cocktail dress. No, like a slutty cocktail dress. It's like $538. I don't, and it's ugly. I don't understand how. Anyway,
paying for the name, I guess.
But hey, No offense if you shop at Saks Fifth, like good for you because, you're certainly upper middle class. Anyway, so if you can afford it, please buy them and let us know how the quality is.
Tell us how that Barbie really works in real life.
Yeah, God, are you kidding me?
And don't let your daughters play with it. It's $30K.
Please don't.
You wouldn't let your daughter play with like a classic Mustang, would you?
No. You can get it for the same price, so,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's move on.
Let's move.
This has nothing to do with Barbies or diamonds and gold. It has to do with Batman, the Matt Reeves Batman movie. Matt Reeves got on Twitter the other day. His tweet says, "Oh, hi, Peter." And it's a picture that he posted that has Peter Sarsgaard in it. And Peter Sarsgaard apparently has been cast to be in the new Batman movie alongside Robert Pattinson, Zoe Kravitz, Paul Dano. They didn't exactly say who he's playing, but then there was an Instagram post. This is the internet, man. The internet's going to try to suss this out.
Yep.
So Sarsgaard's wife, which is Maggie Gyllenhaal, who was in a Batman movie, by the way, showed a picture of Sarsgaard mid-shave where his head is half-shaved, but he shaved, like, if you draw a vertical line up your face across the top of your head, he shaved just one side. Okay. So one side of his head is shaved, the other side has hair, which obviously is going to make people think Two-Face. And that, of course, is the rumor, is that Peter Sarsgaard's going to be playing Harvey Dent, a.k.a. Two-Face. This is interesting to me because the movie doesn't come out till 2021. So we know that there's going to be more casting news and things going. But we talked about this, I think, like a week or two ago.
We did.
John Turturro is going to be Carmine Falcone, Two-Face. We're getting the Penguin. Are we getting Catwoman? We're getting Catwoman in this thing.
And is the Riddler in it?
Yeah. I think we're also getting the Riddler. Like, I'm to the point where I'm like, Now, I will say this. If he plays Harvey Dent, and he's just playing Harvey Dent in this,
that's fine.
And
not a villain.
And he's not Two-Face, and he becomes Two-Face later, something like that in another movie, okay, great, because then you're doing some casting, and you're doing some foreshadowing, and you're setting something up. I'm okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
But if this is now we're going to cram another villain in here, and we're like at villain number 7, it comes to the point where like even Batman isn't going to be able to overcome all of these villains at the same time. And especially not Robert Pattinson's Batman. Like, get Batfleck back in here. We're going to need 2 or 3 Batmen in here to get this job done.
Yep.
Just saying, people.
Very interesting. How many more? I don't. Well, we'll see. We don't know who he's going to play. Okay, I mean, it's conjecture at this point. However,
everyone knows I'm a Superman guy, but that doesn't mean I don't love Batman. It doesn't mean I don't want successful Batman. I want a successful Batman so bad. I want good Batman. If we're doing Batman, let's do it right. I'm extremely nervous about this. I think we got way too many villains packed into this thing. I don't like it. I don't like it one bit.
I don't either. And I love Batman. Batman's awesome.
To quote a 90s band, say it ain't so. Oh, whoa. Anyway.
All right.
Okay. So, let's go from the horribly depressing / amazing casting in Batman to our question of the week from last week. So, last week, Matt, you and I had we had a take or two on the DCEU and the whole toxicity behind the release the Snyder Cut campaign that continues to rage online. We did get some very interesting responses last week, not to the question of the week necessarily, but to our belief that we're not going to see a Snyder Cut because it's going to take Warner Brothers millions of dollars to do this, and they have no financial reason to do this. And we got some fanboys, some loyal fanboys that reached out and said, just wait, stuff like, just wait. And I looked at that and kind of went, yeah, I'm waiting. Like, I'm okay. Listen, I'm going to stay here again, and I'm totally okay. If a Snyder Cut gets released and Warner Brothers puts a lot of money in to finish the shots and to clean it up, and they cut it down, they make sure that at least it has a narrative that makes sense. If it's good, it's good. Okay, I'm happy. However, I just don't think that's going to be the case.
Yeah.
And I don't think they're going to put the money into it. I don't think they're going to refinish action shots. And they're definitely not going to be filming pickups to finish a project that's already been theatrically released. It's not going to happen. But I got a lot of people who are like, it's going to happen. Read this quote. Here's this person said this about it. And I kind of went like, I get it. I get it. I held hope out for such a long time for Star Wars. I was holding out hope we were going to get more Star Wars movies after 1983. I waited from 1983 to 1999 for a Star Wars movie. And then it wasn't Luke and Leia and Han. It was a prequel. Right. And we got Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah.
I understand the hope when you want something so bad that you hold on to it. I get that. But at some point, you have to say, we have to be realistic. Hoping for more movies in a trilogy that was extremely profitable is one thing. Hoping for a recut of a movie that lost money for the studio,
right.
It's more of a pipe dream. But we asked a very important question, to which we got 2 answers. Our important question this week was, how do you feel about the toxicity in fandom, and what do you think can be done to help resolve it, overcome it, lessen it? And we got 2 answers. And so we're going to go like we always do. We're going to start with our email. We're going to go over to Peter Christensen. Now I'm just going to say, Matt, before I've told you to buckle up. This time I'm going to say, don't buckle up. Strap in with a 5-point harness, because here we go.
Oh boy.
Dear nerds, we love the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Kind of. What we do is we record it on the DVR, start watching it 2 hours late, fast forward through every commercial, and fast forward through every musical number unless someone votes to watch it. We finish it in about an hour. I watched E.T. as a kid and cried, like sobbing cried in my room for the whole rest of that day. I didn't even remember the movie, so I thought I was just sad that he had to go home. But a couple years ago, I watched it with my kids and realized that maybe I was sobbing about watching the government torture a friendly alien and his symbiote kid nearly to death. It literally changed how I looked at my life. Maybe I wasn't as oversensitive and empathetic as I thought. Maybe I was just terrified of the abuses of power and cruelty. Mandalorian number 5 continues the high quality. I'm looking forward to the sidecar, he means sidekick, episode. I've barely ever watched Westerns, but the themes in The Mandalorian make me want to fill in those gaps in my movie knowledge. If you do, Peter, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
High Noon.
High Noon. Yes, like they're Unforgiven.
Some good stuff out there.
Ooh.
Westerns are fun. They're just
Westerns,
fun. It's a fun,
Westerns can be real
time.
fun. Yeah,
that's it.
310 to Yuma, like the
310
remake.
to Yuma, classic stuff.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. Skip the Magnificent Seven remake because it was horse crap.
Yeah,
just I hated it.
I didn't hate it. I mean, I liked it, but it wasn't.
All right, I'll not talk too much crap on it.
It wasn't as Western as like the original.
I didn't like it. Anyway,
he says, "I know I'm the Fortress's resident Avatar shill. You are, but hear me out." He says,
boy.
While Avatar's plight might be charitably called familiar territory, it sets up an amazing plot conflict for the sequels. I've said it multiple times. I won't bore you again. Check the archives. In the last it's so true. In the last decade, I would say that big budget storytelling and script quality has improved as much as visual effects. So, if Avatar 2 has a script that's just average for 2021, that will be a big improvement. That's a fair point, Peter.
Sure.
That's a fair point. Then, Disney made a long-term deal for theme park and merchandise rights for Avatar. The Pandora area at Disney's Animal Kingdom is supposed to be amazing, and there will be plenty of promotion and excitement leading up to the sequels now that the mouse is shilling for them. One of the big problems Avatar had was that it dropped off the cultural radar quickly once it was out of the theaters because there was nobody working to keep it present. And lastly, if you think that high-quality movie visuals are a solved problem, let me introduce you to my old pal, Steppenwolf. That's Justice League right there. Yeah. Okay. So, Peter, you're not wrong. If done right, high-quality visuals have, I think, been figured out. With enough money. With the right person. With not enough money or a committee directing things, it kind of goes poorly. I do also agree the mouse is going to be shilling for it because they want it to be successful. And you, Matt, and I have both been at Disney World. I walked through the Pandora area of Animal Kingdom. I thought it looked really cool, really, really amazing. I didn't get to ride the ride, though. But it is what it is.
It's a cool land. I don't have like a huge connection to it, so it's not like when I eventually get to Galaxy's Edge. Obviously, it will be very different experiences.
Yeah.
It was cool, immersion, blah, blah, blah. The ride's amazing, but it's not amazing because it's Avatar. Well, I'll just say that.
It's just amazing because it's a great ride?
Yeah.
Okay.
For me.
Gotcha.
For Peter, I'm sure it would be awesome. For me.
Peter says also, by the way, I'm going to stop here. When the next Avatar movie comes out, I'm going to say this because I bagged on the Avatar movie and the story in that so hard on this podcast. I mean, in a loving, kind way. I mean, I really don't truly trash things on the podcast. I try to keep positive, but I haven't been exactly the most kind to it.
Sure. Because
I think the story is really weak. It's just the visuals and we will do this for a movie club. And we will have Peter come on and join us.
There we
go. Because here's the thing. I think I'm already pre-biased to thinking it's not going to, I think it's going to be a pile of garbage. I do. That's my pre-bias. Prove me wrong. I'm totally cool with that. I love being proved wrong in movies. Peter's, I think, totally biased to wanting this movie to be successful. But I also know Peter well enough to say that if it is hot garbage, Peter will probably be the first to admit it. So, with that being said, I think having Peter back on the podcast, because it's been a while, when that movie comes out, would be a lot of fun.
Great. I'll stay in bed. You guys have fun.
Okay, so going back to Peter here, he says, also, I read that Avatar 2 will be the most significant diving movie ever. Apparently, they've been filming the movie 2 minutes at a time while the actors free dive. As a scuba and ocean nerd, this is incredibly exciting. So, okay, are we going to go from the air and up in this above this planet to now the abyss? Because if we're going to be getting that James Cameron and we're going back to the abyss, I could get on board with that crap.
Yeah, we're not. It's going to be Avatar 2.
Come on, Matt. I'm trying to be positive here. Just a little bit.
I'm trying to bring balance.
To the Force?
Yeah. All right.
All right, fair enough. All right. Peter says, I have a couple of thoughts regarding the conversation about toxicity and fan culture. One, the worldwide, everyone involved nature of many internet conversations is doomed to failure. If only 1 in 10,000 people is awful, but 10 million people see a popular movie, that means 10,000 awful people will be talking about it. Smaller, more vetted conversations make a big difference. Here in the Fortress, you and Matt can respectfully disagree about The Last Jedi, and I can say how Suicide Squad had fun moments, and Matt may question my taste, but not my... Listen, this is important, but not my worth as a human.
That's true.
The best remedy for this is probably moving on from global, uncontrolled audiences. These toxic people are never going away, and now that we have cheap, ubiquitous global communication, communities of people like that are here to stay. So the quicker we can identify them, the quicker and stronger that we can exclude those people or prevent that behavior in our own spaces. Unfortunately, I think that toxic behavior and globally connected freedom of speech are inextricable. Now that is true.
Yep.
I do agree, which is nice. Like there's a podcast I listen to called Married to the Games, and it's a great community of people who are kind of similar to myself. I mean, not everyone listens, but for a lot of part, it's dads that have kids, families that still play video games, that love it. And like the community is great because we can have conversations, but we're maybe a little more mature, a little more grown up. We can disagree on things, but we do it in a positive way. We can have conversations. It's not toxic.
Right.
It's one of the few communities that I've run across in a long time in the video game realm that doesn't become toxic. And so I agree. Smaller communities that are policed by people who are trying to make conversations civil and keep it from becoming toxic, I think really does help. I think Peter's correct. He goes on, I also think that as big franchises crank out more and more movies, I think that will take away some of the frantic energy that these fan bases have. After the first Hulk, 2 Ghost Riders, 2 Fantastic Fours, and Spider-Man 3, I'm sure Marvel fans in 2007 would have been just as awful as the current DCEU fans if they had had Twitter back then. But now there are literally dozens of good MCU movies, so no one's going to sweat it if the Eternals flops. Likewise, with Star Wars, they're charitably 50-50 since 1983. Almost 40 years when Star Wars remained popular, but any given movie was a stressful roll of the dice. The DCEU is 7 movies in, with 1 movie that would be upper tier in the MCU, Wonder Woman, 2 fun ones, Aquaman and Shazam, and several that would make Nick Cage's CGI Ghost Rider's abs blush.
Yeah.
They're basically Cleveland sports fans at this point. But if these franchises can crank out 1 to 3 enjoyable movies per year, then the misses won't hurt so bad. I thought Hobbs and Shaw was a letdown, but that can't take away any of the Fast Five's safe chase or F-8's submarine battle. Cheers, Peter Christensen.
Thank you, Peter.
I do like that he brings up the fact that, like, we had some bad Marvel movies. This is pre-MCU.
Yeah, they were really bad.
The Fantastic Four movies, Daredevil, Elektra, the Ang Lee's Hulk movie.
Oh my gosh. I was so excited to see that. Gosh, that was so bad.
Me too.
Man, that was bad.
Too. Also Jennifer Connelly. Love me some Jennifer Connelly. But
yeah.
But we didn't have Twitter back then. Facebook was in its infancy. So, yeah. But the problem is now is that with, like Peter said, with this global cheap communication, it's just easy for people to rip on things and rip it apart. But, good quality films will help. So, hopefully we can see some of the toxicity in some of these fandoms lessen or go away.
Yep.
All right, going over to Twitter, we've got Rich Turpin at TurpinRich. He says, there's an old saying, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. They use media for their outlet, which is bad. If I don't like a movie or character, game, celebrity, who cares? Why do I need to let everyone know? Opinions are opinions. Keep them that way. Short, simple, to the point. I like the idea. I like the sentiment. However, the internet being the internet, I think Peter's got maybe a little bit more of the idea of how we change a larger culture, but Rich has got more of the how do we change individuals.
Yeah, I mean, I see bad movies.
Yeah.
I mean, there are movies that I just really hated recently. Why waste my energy?
Yeah.
And it's part of the problem. Always, it feels like in this culture, the minority and the louder voice, which is the negative one, is always heard the loudest. Yep. It doesn't matter what it is. It's always that way. It doesn't matter how great the movie is. If there's, I don't know. It's just too bad. It's just too bad.
Yeah.
And I just get
Well,
sad.
hopefully civility will reign here. Matt, Super Friends are out there. They're helping us every week. They're coming in droves for the Fortress of Nerditude. They're coming in droves for the Mandalorian. But what can they do for us today?
Here's what you can do today, tomorrow, the next day. When your family comes into town or when you visit your family this coming holiday season, give them a hug. Tell them you love them. That's what you can do. If you've got a son or daughter coming home from college, buy them a meal. Buy them every meal if you can afford it. And just hold them tight. That's what you can do for us. In addition to listening, liking, subscribing, commenting, etc. Just throw some love out there.
Throw the love around.
Yes, sir.
Your family, your friends, maybe even your super friends.
Oh, yeah.
I got you. That was awesome, Matt. That was really good. So, Matt, some things have happened this week. It's been a big week. We intentionally left some things out of Rebel Intelligence because there was just too much. We figured we're going to roll them all up into our discussion. Where do you want to start?
Let's start with trailers.
Okay.
Yeah, we're talking about trailers today, y'all. So a ton of trailers were released. I mean, there are probably ones that we're missing. I'm sure there are ones that we're missing that we're not going to talk about. However, a lot of them really fit into our niche here.
Yeah, there was 5 big ones that hit this week.
Yeah, some of them look really, really great. Actually, all of them.
I liked every single trailer.
Look
I'm not going to lie.
really great. So let's start with the first one that I saw, which was Mulan.
Okay.
This was a couple of days ago. The trailer came out. And here's the thing with Mulan for me. No Mushu and no music makes me sad. I'm just gonna. That was my thing going into this trailer was no iconic songs, which Mulan has iconic, some of the greatest Disney songs in my opinion, some great ones, great moments, and no Mushu that I am aware of even to this point after the trailer.
I thought we saw a brief
We saw like
glimpse.
a bird thing.
Well, no, I think. Well, okay, the bird thing is I think the witch or the villain.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
that
also,
turns
what
into the
heck
bird.
is that? But
right.
yes, so I watched this trailer. I'm pleasantly surprised. Not surprised, but I think it looks good.
So it's interesting because like you get the basic general gist of the Mulan story, right? That there's this evil force. Now in the original animated, it's Genghis Khan, right?
Yep.
He's coming over Mongolia. He's going to come and conquer. And so they need men from each village and each family to go off and fight. In this one, it's not Genghis Khan. It's some sort of, I don't know, some warrior
really
with some sort of
know.
witch.
Yeah. Weird.
Yeah, they give a name. I didn't really catch it.
Yeah.
But they ask for, someone from each family, and you realize the dad only has 2 daughters, and he's trying to put some like leg brace on. And of course, Mulan steps up in the middle of the night, steals the armor, steals the sword, takes off to go. So like it hits all the kind of the big story beats. She's a woman in ancient China who's going to fight for her family because she feels that she carries that honor and she wants to do her part. I love the story of Mulan, and I think from the trailer I feel like it's going to hit all those story beats. So I think I'm already predisposed to love the story because I think it's such an amazing story, just period.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, there was no music.
I mean, there was music, and
there was music,
the iconic music, but they're not going to sing in it.
I know they're not going to sing it. I know they're not going to sing in it. Part of me still kind of hopes that they do, and they're holding that back, because in every other live-action Disney, we've got Jungle Book. They're singing. In Aladdin, they're singing. In Beauty and the Beast, there's singing. Why would you not sing in Mulan? You nailed it. It has some of the best Disney music from kind of like that era.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a shame, Matt. I think it'd be a shame.
Prepare to be disappointed. I really don't think with the tone of that trailer, I don't see how it fits. It seemed to me like a really serious film. Like we're getting a really serious take on Mulan.
Like this is more of like a Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Yes, it really felt that way. Like
seriousness.
They're going full on. Like this is a really cool story, and it's a great story. Like you said,
yeah,
one of the best Disney stories ever that they've told is Mulan, and there's not gonna be any singing, and there's not gonna be a Mushu, and I have to be okay with that. I hope. What if they came out and they said, "P.S. Eddie Murphy's back"? I'd be like, okay.
Oh,
how
take
do
my
I
money.
pay $25 for one ticket? Because I will do it for no reason.
Right.
Oh my gosh. So I don't know. I'm okay with it because I've now like adjusted my expectations to how this movie is going to be portrayed. The trailer looks cool. What I hate is the witch. It's stupid. I don't get it. Why's there got to be a witch? Why can't it just be like, if they're going to try and make it like a serious Mulan film, like why not get rid of the magic stuff and make it straightforward? Whatever.
So here's the thing, and I don't know. I have no clue, but I'm just going to take some guesses. Did Genghis Khan actually exist during the time period that Mulan was supposed to be set? Because if not, they could use this as an opportunity to change, how to put this, some of maybe the cultural whitewashing that Mulan film kind of did for the animated. Because you gotta think back. At this time, they're trying to make movies and stories that they can mass appeal to everyone.
Yeah.
People have heard of Genghis Khan. People hadn't heard of this crazy random witch lady. So maybe they said, we'll do Genghis Khan, that's familiar, it'll be a little more evil, a little more menacing, da-da-da-da-da. If that wasn't actually around the same time period, they could change that now and make it something that would be more suited to that time period. I don't know. I have no clue. Yeah. Just taking a guess.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
I think I'm going to be like you and keep my expectations low on the singing and the Mushu. However, if we have magic in this film, why could we not have Mushu?
Yeah, why the heck? What?
I think, Matt, with this trailer, they're giving us the story, they're giving us this, and they're going to wait to give us a shot of Mushu and a little bit of singing or a little bit of the iconic music we're familiar with until like the trailer that's going to drop like right before the movie comes out to then really amp people up. Because think back to the Aladdin trailer. The first Aladdin trailer, it shows Aladdin, it shows him running around. You don't get Genie until the very, very, very tail end, and it's just super brief. No singing. There wasn't like singing Genie. But then a later trailer right close to the movie, then we get some of the singing Genie, and people are like, okay, we're getting the music. I think it could be that. I may be completely wrong, but that's my secret hope. That's my fanboy crossing my fingers hope of hope.
I also hope. However, I do not expect nor anticipate any of those things.
All right. Well, we'll see. When does that come out? Do you know?
Oh, gosh. Pretty soon, I wanted to say.
I think it's like 2020, right?
Yeah, it is March 27th.
Oh, okay. So it's not
far.
Not too far. Speaking of March, did I tell you what we're doing in March? Well, Breeden and I, how did I forget to tell you this? Did I forget to tell you we bought our tickets to Hawaii?
This is so last week's podcast.
Oh, well, then never mind. Ooh,
We've
okay.
already heard this, Spencer. We know you're going to Hawaii.
I'll be back from Hawaii then when I see this.
Well, cool. What trailer do you want to talk about next?
It's a trailer that I won't be seen in Hawaii.
Okay.
Oh man, there's so many good ones. So let's go to a trailer that's going to be near and dear to my heart because the original is near and dear to my heart. Ghostbusters Afterlife. So, we have finally got a trailer, which was interesting because earlier in the week, before we got the trailer, we actually got some stills from the movie and the title that's called Ghostbusters Afterlife. And then, like a couple days later, we got a trailer. I love this trailer. It's a different take. Instead of it being in New York City where the first and second one is, because this will be a continuation of the story told from the first and second film. The Ghostbusters rebooted one. What do they call it? Ghostbusters...
Terrible.
Fight the Future. So I don't remember what it was. I know I'm probably mixing like horrible like Terminator names. Yeah.
Know.
This one's gonna be like somewhere. It looks like it's like maybe Kansas or Oklahoma.
Yeah.
It's something rural.
Yep.
For sure. And basically it shows like a single mom and two kids that basically I think like lose everything, but there's like a family like decrepit mansion that's left to them. It looks like it's Egon Spangler, which of course is Harold Ramis, and he passed sadly, so he can't be in it. And I had a bunch of people say like, well, you know, who could it be? Who could it be? It's like, look at the actors that they've got. They've got, what's his name? Finn Wolfhard, who was in Stranger Things. And McKenna Grace, and like, these kids look like Egon Spangler.
Yes.
I mean, they just look like Egon.
Yep.
And so we get this thing. It has kind of a Stranger Things feel to it a little bit. And I'm not just saying that because Finn was in it, but it just kind of has a little more suspense feel than just like the straight up comedy that the original Ghostbusters had.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get, we see that they're doing this thing. And then of course, Paul Rudd, and which is interesting because these kids like have no knowledge of the Ghostbusters, no knowledge of, you know, Tobin's Spirit Guide and, an EKP, like an EK, like none of the, like the ghost traps, nothing. But Paul Rudd remembers that because he was around in the 80s. And so he's like showing them YouTube videos and whatnot. Slimer makes an appearance in this thing. And then for me, I'm like, this was the moment where I just like melted. We hear a Bill Murray voiceover because we know that, is he going to be in it? Is he not going to be in it? The latest thing says he is going to be in it, but we hear a line that's at the beginning of the first Ghostbusters movie. It says, call it fate, call it luck, call it karma. And they're playing that as they're showing this. They show the kids starting up the Ecto-1 in the decrepit barn. I mean, of course, we don't really see any ghosts being busted, but it's all like the little things that really let you know that this story is going to tie in to the originals. All this stuff is left to this family, to these kids. So we're probably going to be getting the next generation of Ghostbusters in this. We're going to get a tie over, I think, from the original cast. And then who knows what's going to happen. This looks great. Here's my only one concern. I don't need this thing to try to be funny. I have a feeling that they're going to go for more of the suspense.
Right. Yep.
Kind of aspect. Not horror, but just like suspense with maybe kind of like dark comedy. Suspense, dark comedy. If you go that range, I'm okay with that. If you try to push full-on comedy, kind of like the original was, boy, you better have some real talented people doing this, because the original, you know, was written by Dan Aykroyd, and then it was punched up by Ivan Reitman and Harold Ramis, and that's some real comedy heavyweights. So you got to bring it. You got to bring it. But it looks good, Matt. What did you think when you saw this trailer?
Oh, it blew me away. I'm so excited to see this movie. Easily my most anticipated movie. When does it come out?
Summer of 2020.
That's right. This summer. That's right. Definitely 2020. I don't know what's coming out, but I know that's coming out. So it's my most anticipated movie. I can't think of any movies other than a Star Wars movie that would outrank this movie. So excited. And this trailer I thought was awesome. Like, clearly tying into the original, right? They're ignoring the 2016 movie as if it never happened, which we already knew, right? That was not canon.
Right.
And it looked like the way I want it to look. Like dark and scary. And like mysterious. It was and obviously the first trailer, it's probably from the first like 25 minutes of the movie. You know?
Let's hope, right? Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I mean, there's so many things that you could say, you could assume about that trailer. And well, we know though so the kids, it's their grandpa.
Yep.
And so we know that Egon is their grandpa. Yep. They find the suit. We know that. We find all of his equipment.
Proton packs. Yeah.
It made me so happy. I don't watch trailers more than once very often because I don't necessarily want to. I don't know. That's just, I don't watch them very often more than once. But this one I watched more than once today. It came out today.
Do you think the Ray Parker Jr., Who You Gonna Call Ghostbusters song makes an appearance in this film?
Absolutely.
Do you think it'll be actually in the film or credits?
I think maybe in the radio, like on the radio as a Easter egg. I don't know that it'll be full on boy, but what if it was full on? Like they're about to go bust the big bad and like that music comes on. I'm getting the chills thinking about it. I want to cry.
What if it's when they're going through finding all the old stuff, they see a tape player, they're like, what's this? And they're like, and they hit play and then it starts playing that.
Oh my gosh. Or when the old cast shows up. Oh my gosh. Anyway, unfortunately, my expectations are very high. They always have been high since I heard about the project.
Yep.
And now with the for sure original cast involved and Paul Rudd in it, and Finn, I can't not be excited. It looks great. We know nothing about the story really other than they go to Grandpa's house. That's pretty much what we've got so far.
If I could see the original cast and then maybe like Paul Rudd join them in a suit with a proton pack, yeah, I'd be super happy. That would make me smile. That would make me smile.
He has to. There's so many possibilities with this movie. Bring back. Anyway, whatever. It looked
Rick Moranis, Annie Potts, Sigourney Weaver, anyone you possibly.
Well, Sigourney Weaver, isn't she gonna be in it? Didn't she say that she was?
I don't know. Bring back William Atherton, Walter Peck. Anyway,
I think that I saw one of those terror dogs. I think is what they're called. I'm pretty sure I saw the foot of one of those land on a car in this trip. If that is it, Zool. All right, I can't.
Gozer the Gozerian.
I can't do it anymore. So I can't do it anymore. If Rick Moranis shows up, I will literally pee my pants in the seat.
We need to do a movie club on Ghostbusters.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, easy. That's an easy one to do.
Anyway,
all right. What's your next pick for the big movie trailers that we saw?
So the second one, well, I'm going to go in order when I saw them. Wonder Woman.
Ooh, yes.
So Wonder Woman 1984.
Mm-hmm.
I loved the first Wonder Woman. We talked about this last week, I think. That is the one DC film in this universe that they've created that I thought was, like Peter Christensen said, right? Upper tier. Like, this would be a top tier Marvel movie. And it was a top tier movie that I saw that year. I really, really liked Wonder Woman a lot. And this trailer makes me very, very excited because Chris Pine is back. Also.
Yeah, how is that going to happen?
I don't know. But he's in it, and it didn't look like he was just in it for a moment. Not like a flashback or like a hallucination, but like...
No, like he sees her, they come together, and then like when they're walking around like at the little tail end, they're like, everything's art. He's like, yeah. She's like, no, that's a trash can. He's like, oh yeah, of course that's a trash can.
Yeah.
Like I laughed. It was a funny moment. So like he's not just in it for like a flashback scene. Like he's in current present day.
Yeah, like alive. Somehow.
But he looks still the same age. Like, he hasn't aged up.
Right.
What's going on? I want to know.
America. They're stealing a Captain America. He's frozen. I don't know. It looks... Here's the deal. I don't know a lot about Wonder Woman. Comic books, my extent as far as my knowledge of comic books goes to the movies that I've seen and the animated shows I watched as a child. I've probably purchased less than 2 comic books. So I know that I've only purchased 1 comic book in my life. So I don't know all of the ins and outs of Wonder Woman or any of these characters, which for me makes the movies more enjoyable because I have nothing to compare them to. But she's got her whip.
Yep, her
she's
lasso of justice.
Yes, she's riding that thing, man. In the lightning.
Yeah.
That was cool.
That was way cool.
She was like in the sky, like, woo! Like, that was cool. I was into that.
I thought was interesting is that they show Kristen Wiig in the trailer.
Oh, I forgot. Yes.
And Kristen Wiig, she's playing some character called Barbara Ann Minerva, which, if you know anything about Wonder Woman, that's the alter ego of her nemesis, Cheetah.
Okay, I was going to say, she seems like she's going to play a villain.
So it looks like she might not be a villain at first, but this may be things happen and she's going to turn into the villain over the course of the film. Like something's going to drive her. I'd like to see that because one of two things. One, I think we're going to get I think we've seen the villain already. At least the big main villain. He's this like smarmy looking dude.
Yeah.
Who's got some rock and some power, and I'm not exactly sure what's going to go on here. But I think with Kristen Wiig's character, I think she's going to transform into the cheetah. She's going to become the cheetah. Something's going to happen that's going to push her that direction.
Yeah.
Which, 2 things. One, I hope sets up another sequel. Because I look at this thing and the trailer looks amazing.
Yes.
Once again, it's done by Patty Jenkins, who did the first Wonder Woman movie, which was an amazing movie. The trailer for this looks amazing. If this is as good as I think it's going to be, and they set up a villain to come in the next film, I'm okay with that. It's kind of like how, if you remember at the end of Batman Begins, we see the Scarecrow's defeated, and then Jim Gordon's talking to Batman, and he says, like, yeah, there's some new guy in town. He leaves this around as his calling card. And Batman says, I'll look into it. And that's how that movie ends. They could have gone to a different villain when they did The Dark Knight. They could have. But instead, we go right to Joker. It's supposed to have been a couple of years, So, like, if they're going to set up the Cheetah villain, and we don't really see that, and it's this other villain, but, like, we kind of see the struggle and the transition, like, that could be kind of cool, and then we know kind of where the next one could go. We could get another Wonder Woman movie, because don't get me wrong, this movie's going to make a lot of money. I don't see how we don't get a third movie.
Yep. It would be stupid. It's their most successful movie. Yep. I mean, Halloween costumes for Wonder Woman must have been insane that year. I bought Emmy one. Emmy was Wonder Woman that year.
See? There you go. Princess Diana Emmy.
That's my girl. So anyway, it looks awesome. I'm excited for Wonder Woman. I've been excited for it. Feels like it's been forever since that movie came out. Definitely one to see in the theaters.
Plus, it's a period piece. It's all going to be set in the 80s. We're going to get 80s fashion, 80s music. I mean,
that trailer was super 80s.
So freaking
felt like
good.
Stranger Things a little bit. And it's too bad that had to come right after season 3 where it's focused on the mall, right? Because it felt very Stranger Things at that point.
Yes. I thought same thing.
Like, oh, sorry, guys. A little late to the game.
I agree. That looks good. Yes. I like it. All right. The last one I've got that I'm going to pick, and then I think you and I have got one we
just
can say
fun
together. Yeah. We also got the trailer for the Black Widow movie.
Mm-hmm.
Which I've said before I thought was really interesting, that we're going to go back in time for a Black Widow movie, for a standalone Black Widow movie, after the fact that currently, as it sits, this character's dead.
She gone.
So we're going to go back into time to see this. Really interesting. I'm not exactly sure when this is going to be, but obviously it's going to be prior to the events of the Infinity War Endgame films. It's going to go back in time. We're going to see her, and she looks like she's going to be reuniting with her kind of, let's say, adopted family, because they're not really family per se. I think pretty much everyone, because I had to do some reading because I was like, I don't know who this is.
Yeah.
But of course, it has David Harbour in it.
Yeah.
Who we know from Stranger Things. I feel like Stranger Things is kind of like a running theme through
it's a thing.
all of these things right now. But
thing.
David Harbour's in it, and he's playing basically what looks like to me like the Soviet Union version of Captain America.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I'm trying to like get to it because there was a name that said like, here's what he is, and his name is, such and such. Because we see him and he's wearing like, he puts on this like red outfit and it's got like a big white star on the chest. And obviously it's just kind of, I don't know, it's very much inspired by, I feel like the Captain America thing.
Right.
But I can't remember what his name is, but he's in this. He looks like he's like super strong. Like he may have also had some sort of super serum thing. He goes by the Red Guardian. That's what it is. But I mean, come on, it's Cap America's suit all the way. So we get that. We get another like the sister, but it's not really a sister. It's like another woman who was trained in kind of that red room when the KGB. Then we get someone who's I think kind of like the, like what you'd say kind of like the mom, but it's more like she was like the and like another agent that basically like helped to train them. So basically like something has happened, and this is in the past, where Natasha Romanoff has to go back to Russia and like partner up with like former KGB members, the red, I don't know, what did I say? Is Red Falcon, the Red Guardian. And like I read this whole article which kind of talks about like, hey, these people are actually this, and in the comic books they were this, and there's this whole detail, and I'm sure Caleb Albers is gonna send us a lengthy email and explain who these people are. But the interesting thing is, I don't think, kind of reading some of this, I don't think they're going to be able to stick to these characters' backstories exactly from the comics, just because of the way the MCU has kind of developed so far, at least the way it looks.
Right.
But I think this is going to be in the 1980s. I think this is going to be a kind of a Cold War tale.
I could see that. That makes sense.
I think it looks good. When you watch this, what did you think? Is this something that immediately had you going, yes, I want more, or
Here's what it had me doing. What? It was too confusing, in my opinion. I didn't understand any of it. I thought they were really family until you just explained that.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. They didn't, I mean, it made it appear like he was their father and they're getting their family back together and she was her sister. To me, it was really confusing. I know the Marvel Universe, though, like how it's set up movie-wise, right? I know the ins and outs of that. I've watched all of those movies many, many times, and I was confused, which to me probably isn't a great sign. To me, it was very confusing. I didn't understand. They didn't give us a year.
Yep.
And even with some of the dialogue, I was like, okay, is this? I was trying really hard to understand where this took place, because it was showing flashback or flash forwards maybe, but she was talking about how she didn't have a family until she met the Avengers, and then went flashback, and I was like, what? So to me, it was confusing.
So here's something I just thought of. You remember when she falls in, she like plummets to her death on Vormir, I think is the name of the planet. And she basically gets trapped in the Soul Stone in order to free the Soul Stone. What if she's not dead per se, but like her soul's still trapped there and her soul still lives on, and she's able to like still experience thought and emotion, and she can like, and she's like thinking through like her past and saying like, I didn't know what family was until I met the, the Avengers and and like she's pondering back, and like, what if this is like the last thought that's going through her brain as she is actually like dying on Voromir or something like that? Like,
okay.
That could totally give us a reason to go back in time, with B, tying it to the very emotional loss of her character in the present.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know if maybe that's too existential, that's too heavy.
Right.
But
it's yeah, I don't know, because my other question when you said, what did you think? I was like, what? And then the other question I have is, why? What's the point of this movie?
Well,
all of the movies in the Marvel Universe make sense together. This one is just like a random time jump just to tell her story because of the pressures of everybody saying, why didn't we get a Black Widow movie?
Yeah, I wonder if it's a little more of that.
To me is like, why didn't we get a Black Widow origin film? Please make one. Please make one. And Marvel's like, well, we do everything else you ask, so let's do this.
I mean, they did say they were going to do a Black Widow movie a long time ago. It just took them way too... Because I think they were focusing on what they were doing.
Right. And I get that. That's fine. I don't know. It seems weird with the way that how Marvel has done things to all of a sudden go backwards in time.
I've heard a rumor. Robert Downey Jr. is going to have some sort of cameo or small role in this film.
Oh, that's cool. I hope they tie it in some way like that.
Yeah.
Then I'd be like, okay, I guess. I don't know. I'll see it, obviously. However, my expectations are like, they're low right now because I don't understand anything.
We do get Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross as well, in case, tie in a few little more MCU things.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. May 1st, 2020.
It's really soon.
It's coming up.
It's really, really soon.
We shall see what happens. Okay, the last trailer we got, Matt.
Yeah.
What do you got?
So the last trailer is Ryan Reynolds' Free Guy.
Free Guy.
Free Guy.
I hadn't known anything about this until I watched the trailer today.
Oh, really?
Yep.
So I think we both are Ryan Reynolds fans.
Oh, I'm in love with Ryan Reynolds. He's amazing.
I mean, anyway, never mind. I'm not going to say that. My dad is probably listening and he hates when I say stuff like this. But if
you have a man crush on him,
if I were to have an orientation different than the way it is now, Ryan Reynolds would be my number one. I mean, the dude is hot. Anyway, neither here nor there.
No. Explore that thought a little bit more.
I don't want to go too deep, guys. I don't want to go too deep. Anyway, he's awesome. So I've been excited about this movie, and so I'd heard a little bit about the story. So what I understand, and what now everybody understands, is Ryan Reynolds plays an NPC in a video game. NPC is non-playable character, just right, kind of like in the Lego movie where Emmett just kind of wakes up and does his job, goes home, right? Like they have a predetermined set that they're going to do, and they don't ever act out of that. There's nothing you can do. You run into them on the streets when you're Spider-Man in the Spider-Man, anyway, they don't really do anything. They just take up space. And all of a sudden he's going about his life in this trailer, and he decides to act, which you don't do as an NPC. So he gets this free will. It sounds like they have free will to like talk, but they don't ever do anything. They just kind of chat about like, there's bombs going. It's basically Grand Theft Auto that's happening in this
with
world.
With like a feel of like Fortnite characters mixed in, and
like multiple players at the same time.
Yeah.
It looked like the craziest video game ever.
But I like that his name is just Guy.
Yeah, totally.
Like, doesn't matter what his name is. It's Guy.
Just Guy, because that's how worthless he is as far as his, impact on what this video game is. It gets free will and it gets all these powers, and it looks cool.
It does look cool. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. Like it screams classic like Ryan Reynolds sense of humor.
Yep.
And I like that. His quote, though, is interesting. He says, "Free Guy is my favorite movie I've ever made. And that means a lot to me because I made Deadpool."
I don't know if he should have said that.
That's a huge statement.
That's huge. Ryan Reynolds has been in great movies.
Yep.
And he's such a funny guy and so likable. And it made me go, oh, wow, this movie could be a lot of fun. I don't know if it'll be, great, but it looks to me like it'll be a lot of fun.
Do you know when this movie is going to get released?
July 3rd, 2020. So it's...
Ooh, that's another 2020 movie.
Yeah, another 2020. It looks like it's going to be good. At least fun. Just a fun movie. So we thought that we'd throw this in for our super friends here because it relates.
Yep.
It's a video game. Video games back in the, kind of the spotlight permeating our regular culture, so to speak.
And video game movies have tended to be bad. This one looks like it's going to be tongue-in-cheek and like kind of poking fun at a lot of that.
Yes. Well,
and so I think that could work.
Does Ryan Reynolds like video games or something? Because he's in Detective Pikachu as well recently, which is a video game movie, which again was kind of tongue-in-cheek a little bit also. His portrayal... I
haven't seen that yet.
You haven't seen Detective Pikachu?
No.
Go see it. It's so fun. It's Ryan Reynolds as Pikachu. And he's like a little bit of a naughty Pikachu. It's great.
I think the boys want to see it.
Well, I wanted to see it as a 31-year-old man.
Is it appropriate for my boys, though?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, there's a couple of swear words, but I'm pretty sure it's PG.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's a fun movie. I really liked it. So anyway, I'm excited for that. I like Ryan Reynolds. This is going to be a cool movie. And it's his favorite movie ever made. So,
wow, that's a lot.
Yahoo!
All right, Matt, we talked about 5 trailers tonight.
Yeah, we did.
Out of the 5 trailers, which one are you...
Duh.
Which one are you most excited for?
Yes, Ghostbusters for me. How about you?
Oh, gosh. So it's tough because I feel like Black Widow is going to be a safe movie. It's going to be an MCU movie. It's going to feel, I kind of know like it's going to hit certain beats. That's not the most excited, although I'm excited for it. Free Guy looks fun. It's not the most excited for it. Mulan looks good. Not the most excited for it. So it comes down to Ghostbusters Afterlife and Wonder Woman 1984. Nostalgia in me says Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Yep.
But the part of me, the Fortress of Nerditude part of me says Wonder Woman 1984, following up on the success of Wonder Woman, is probably going to be the biggest hit out of these 5.
I agree.
So I'm really torn. It's a coin flip. I think I'm going to go Wonder Woman 1984, though.
Okay.
That's so close. I mean, you ask me again 5 minutes from now, it's going to be Ghostbusters Afterlife.
If you could only see one of these movies.
Ooh.
That's what it comes down to, right?
Okay, if I could only see one, it definitely would be Wonder Woman 1984. Okay. And I'll tell you why. Because there's always the potential that Ghostbusters Afterlife could spoil my nostalgia and my memories of the original Ghostbuster. I'm not talking about the second one, but the original Ghostbuster movie.
Yeah.
Because this is supposed to be more of a continuation, and that's one of my favorite comedies of all time, and I wouldn't want that spoiled. Whereas Wonder Woman, I really love that movie, but if Wonder Woman 1984 isn't as good, like, I'm not holding Wonder Woman up as, like, my favorite comedy of all time. Like, it doesn't hold that kind of a ranking for me.
I gotcha. Makes sense.
So, if I could only see one, it would be Wonder Woman. Just because the possibility that the other one could ruin my childhood.
I saw Ghostbusters 2016, and that screwed me up for a year.
I have not seen that. I have not seen that. However, I think mentally I'm prepared to go give it a go and just say, it's its own thing. I'm going to let it be its own thing. I'm going to try to enjoy it for what it is.
Okay. Let me know how that goes for you.
All right, Super Friends, here's our question. We talked about 5. We talked about The Black Widow. We talked about Wonder Woman 1984, Ghostbusters Afterlife, Ryan Reynolds' Free Guy, or Mulan. Which of those 5 movies are you most excited to see and why? You can let us know at all the normal places. You can get us on our email, which is fortressnerditude@gmail.com, which we are on Facebook, facebook.com/FortofNerd, Twitter @FortofNerd, Instagram, FortofNerd, and you can leave us a voicemail, 801-477-7687. We can hear from you there. Let us know. We will talk about it next week. Matt, next week, the next week podcast, we're going to have to be talking Christmas.
Yay, I love Christmas.
It's going to be our Christmas episode, which I know seems crazy because we're going to be recording on the 16th.
Yeah.
And it'll release on the 19th. But it'll be the last podcast that'll actually release before Christmas. So we're going to talk this week because this is going to be Christmas round 4. And we'll have to figure out our little what we're going to battle over, how we're going to determine whose Christmas picks beat whose, and figure all that out this week. That's coming up. Then the following week after that, Star Wars Rise of Skywalker Movie Club.
Ugh.
And then after that, it'll be our year wrap-up.
Awesome.
So just big episodes, fun episodes, some of my favorite episodes and most look forward to of the year coming up one after the other after the other.
Woo!
So I look forward to that. And of course, then we also have a new Mandalorian coming up this weekend. So another excuse to get together and talk about nerddom.
Love it. Love it, love it.
Well, from all of us here at the Fortress of Nerditude, to all of you out there, wherever you may be, may the Force be with you. Always.